Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books so you can find your next read.
Sounds like fun.
Let's get started.
Okay.
Today we are taking a deep dive into Narcotopia by Patrick Winn.
Oh, cool.
This book takes you on a wild ride
Okay.
through the Golden Triangle, a region in Southeast Asia,
Right?
infamous for its history of opium production and drug trafficking.
Wow.
You will get an inside look
Okay.
at the complex world of the thwart people,
Got it.
an indigenous tribe
Interesting.
caught in the crosshairs of the global drug trade.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So what's really interesting about Narcotopia
Yeah.
is that it doesn't just skim the surface.
Right.
It goes deep.
Like a deep dive.
Like a deep dive,
Yeah.
revealing the intricate web of politics, history,
Yeah.
and personal stories that have shaped this region. Winn paints a vivid picture of the thwart people, starting with their traditions
Yeah.
as fierce warrior farmers.
Warrior farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine a society
Okay.
where headhunting was practiced
What?
to protect their crops.
Really?
Yeah, headhunting.
I mean, I've heard of headhunting, but to protect their crops.
To protect their crops, that's what they did.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it speaks volumes
Okay.
about their fierce independence and resistance to any external authority,
Interesting.
even as far back as the British Empire.
Wow.
Winn tells the story of Saw Lu,
Okay.
who was sent by Burma's military regime to infiltrate and understand the thwart.
Oh, wow.
So he
He went in there.
actually lived among them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That must have been terrifying.
Oh, I bet. And he was brave to do that.
And his wife Mary went with him.
What?
Yeah, so they lived
My wife went too.
They lived in the fortress town of Pang Wai,
Wow.
and Mary's account provides a unique glimpse
Yeah.
into their daily life and belief system.
That's so interesting.
It really sets the stage for understanding the thwart on their own terms,
Yeah.
which is crucial before diving into the complexities of their involvement in the drug trade.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this isolated tribe
Yeah.
with a fascinating culture, but then the CIA
Oh.
enters the picture during the Cold War,
Yeah.
and that's
Here we go.
where things get really messy.
I bet.
The CIA,
Okay.
in their efforts to combat communism in Southeast Asia, inadvertently fueled the Golden Triangle's drug trade.
Oh, wow.
They armed and supported the Chinese irregular forces,
Yeah.
known as the Exiles,
Got it.
to fight the communists,
Uh-huh.
but this backfired,
Oh.
leading to the creation of a massive opium pipeline.
Wow. So the CIA's actions had unintended consequences.
Yeah, I guess it happens a lot in these types of situations.
Yeah, you would think they would learn by now.
Yeah, you'd think so.
But I guess not.
But I guess not.
No.
And then you have Bangkok's ethnic Chinese,
Okay.
who, according to CIA files, saw themselves as businessmen first and criminals second, if at all.
Wow.
They became key players in the heroin trade, connecting the exiles with global distribution networks.
Wow. So we've got the WA, the CIA, and now Chinese businessmen all mixed up in this.
Yeah, it's like a real-life spy thriller.
It really is.
And then there's Saw Lu,
Okay.
the schoolteacher turned warrior who stumbles upon caches of CIA-supplied weapons
Oh, wow.
while living among the thwart.
Interesting.
He uses these weapons to unite different thwart clans against communist forces
Okay.
trying to dominate the region.
So he's like a school teacher turned revolutionary.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's incredible how Winn brings these characters to life
Yeah.
and shows how their personal stories are intertwined with these larger global events.
It's amazing.
Exactly. And this is where the moral lines start to blur.
Okay.
The thwart are fighting for their independence,
Right.
but they are also increasingly entangled in the drug trade. Winn presents a nuanced perspective, avoiding simple labels of good and evil.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
He shows how these individuals make difficult choices in a world where survival often depends on navigating a complex web of alliances and compromises.
Yeah, that sounds like a moral maze.
It is a moral maze,
Yeah.
and then the DEA arrives on the scene,
Uh-oh.
bringing their own agenda to the Golden Triangle.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the DEA clashed with the CIA over protecting certain drug traffickers
What?
they were using as informants.
Seriously, they were protecting them.
They were protecting them.
Wow.
Mike Levine,
Okay.
a DEA agent featured in the book, was very critical of the CIA's involvement in the drug trade,
Makes sense.
calling out the hypocrisy of fighting drugs
Right.
while simultaneously protecting those involved in trafficking.
Ugh. That's awful.
So it's not just external forces shaping the WA's destiny.
Yeah.
It's also internal conflicts within the U.S. government itself.
That just adds another layer of complexity to this story
It does.
and highlights the ethical dilemmas at play.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, so we've got this clash between the DEA and the CIA,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have Kunsa,
Right.
this infamous drug lord,
Right.
and a young, ambitious up-and-comer named Wei Shuigang.
Oh, interesting.
Wei's story is fascinating.
Okay.
He learns the ropes from Kunsa,
Okay.
helping him establish Shanlin,
Got it.
a micronation funded by heroin profits.
Wow.
But internal power struggles force Wei to flee
Oh.
and join the Wa National Army.
Okay.
There, he uses his expertise to elevate their trafficking operation,
Yeah.
eventually surpassing his mentor
Yay.
in terms of influence and ruthlessness.
So Wei is like the prodigy who turns on his master.
Exactly.
Talk about a Shakespearean drama.
Yeah, unfolding in the heart of the Golden Triangle.
Right, in the Golden Triangle.
And it's not just a power struggle.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of the changing dynamics of the drug trade itself.
That's true.
As the market shifts,
Uh-huh.
so do the players and their strategies. Wei embodies this change,
Okay.
understanding that adaptability is key to survival in this dangerous world.
Yeah, you got to be adaptable.
So we've got the Wa National Army gaining momentum, Saw Lu becoming a leader within the newly formed United Wa State Army, UWSA,
Right.
and this ambitious Wazwagang rising through the ranks.
Okay.
And then Saw Lu hatches this grand vision for the Wa.
Oh.
He wants to partner with the DEA to transform the Wa Nation.
Really?
Yes.
That's a big goal.
Saw Lu, now going by the codename Superstar,
Oh, superstar.
becomes a DEA informant while serving as the Wa's foreign minister.
Wow.
He believes this dangerous alliance could lead to a brighter future for his people,
Okay.
replacing opium fields with schools and economic development.
Interesting.
It's a high-stakes
I
gamble,
bet.
and if his identity is exposed, it's
Oh.
game over.
Yeah, that's a dangerous game.
This is where the story takes a dark turn.
Oh.
Tragically, yes.
What happens?
Saw Lu's secret dealings are exposed, leading to his capture and brutal torture
Oh, God.
by Burmese authorities.
That's terrible.
Winn vividly describes the harrowing conditions of his imprisonment
Oh.
and the psychological toll it takes on him.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
This is just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
While Saw Lu is suffering what's happening with Wei,
Oh, good question.
as you might guess, with Saw Lu out of the picture,
Right.
Wei continues his rise to power within the Wa state.
Of course.
Remember that shift from heroin to yaba we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
That was Wei's doing.
Wow.
This transition proved to be a lucrative strategy, making him one of the most successful
Yeah.
and ruthless drug lords in history.
It's a tragic turn of events.
Yeah.
Saw Lu's dreams are shattered, and the man who betrayed him is thriving.
It seems like there's no justice in this world.
It really doesn't sometimes.
What happens to Saw Lu?
Yeah.
Does he ever get out of that prison?
Good question.
He does eventually get released.
Okay.
However, he returns to a Wa state, completely transformed.
Really?
It's now a Chinese protectorate,
Oh, wow.
heavily reliant on the drug trade.
That's hard.
Everything he fought for,
Wow.
his vision of a different future for his people,
Right.
seems to have vanished.
That's so sad.
Wow, what a tragic turn of events.
It really is.
But this deep dive into Narcotopia has been absolutely captivating. It's not just a story about drugs and cartels.
Right.
It's a story about survival, ambition,
Yeah.
and the unintended consequences of global politics.
It sounds like it.
It's a reminder that the world is full of shades of gray,
That's for sure.
and sometimes the lines between good and evil are blurry at best.
They really are.
Winn's book forces us to confront uncomfortable truths
Uh-huh.
about the drug trade and its impact on real people.
Yeah.
It's a story that stays with you long after you've finished reading.
It sounds like it.
We'll be back in a moment to continue our exploration of Narcotopia.
Looking forward to it.
Stay tuned. We're back with the deep dive, and I have to say, this deep dive into Narcotopia is full of twists and turns. Before the break, we were talking about Saw Lu's imprisonment and Wei Swigang's rise to power. The book also introduces another DEA agent, Angelo Saladino, who gets deeply involved in the Wa situation.
Saladino was appointed to head the DEA's Burma office, which, on paper, sounds like a critical role in the war on drugs. However, he quickly learns that things operate differently in Burma. The Burmese junta, known for its human rights abuses, is deeply entangled in the drug trade, protecting certain traffickers and profiting from the opium flowing through their borders.
So he's essentially caught between a rock and a hard place. He's supposed to be fighting the drug trade, but the very government he's working with is part of the problem. What does he do in that situation?
That's where Saw Lu's plan comes into play. He sees an opportunity to use the DEA's desire to crack down on the drug trade as leverage to gain support for the WA people.
Okay, so a DEA agent and a WA leader working together. This partnership seems incredibly risky, especially considering the political climate.
It was a dangerous game fraught with secrecy and hidden agendas. Their meetings had to be clandestine, using code names and secret rendezvous points. Saw Lu provided valuable intelligence on the WA's drug operations, giving the DEA a much-needed inside look.
But Saw Lu wasn't just exchanging information for protection, right? He had bigger aspirations.
Exactly. Remember his vision of a WA nation free from the drug trade integrated into the global community. He envisioned schools, hospitals, and economic development replacing the opium fields. He believed partnering with the DEA could help achieve this, banking on America's commitment to the war on drugs and its supposed values of freedom and democracy. He hoped the DEA would pressure the Burmese junta to grant the WA more autonomy and support their development.
It was a huge gamble pinning the future of the WA people on the actions of a foreign government. What did the DEA get out of this arrangement?
Access to invaluable intelligence was a major win for the DEA. Saw Lu knew the players, the rides, the profits. He became their superstar, their inside man.
On the surface, it seems like a win-win situation for both parties, but we know things don't go as planned.
Unfortunately, you're right. Within the DEA, there was pushback against this partnership. Another agent, a woman named Bien, was skeptical of Saw Lu's motives.
What was her reasoning? Did she have a personal grudge against Saw Lu?
Bien was a complex character. She was a former CIA operative, so she had seen firsthand the dark underbelly of covert operations and the messy realities of working in these environments. She was wary of getting entangled in another situation where the lines between good and evil were blurred. While she didn't actively sabotage the plan, her doubts created tension within the DEA team. Saladino, on the other hand, believed in Saw Lu and saw this as a chance to make a real difference.
So you have these two strong personalities within the DEA, each with their own perspective. But let's not forget about the CIA. What was their take on all this?
The CIA, as you can imagine, were lurking in the shadows, monitoring the situation closely. They had their own interests in the region and were not happy about the DEA potentially disrupting their carefully crafted alliances. Remember those Chinese exiles the CIA armed to fight communism?
Yeah, the ones who inadvertently fueled the opium trade. It seems like the CIA had a habit of making deals with the devil.
Well, they were still protecting those exiles, even though they were deeply involved in the drug trade, which put them at odds with the DEA who wanted to target them. It was a power struggle between two powerful U.S. agencies, each trying to manipulate events in a foreign country to suit their own agenda.
It's like a game of chess played with real lives. And in the middle of it all is Saw Lu risking everything for his vision.
And then it all comes crashing down. Saw Lu's cover is blown, and his secret dealings with the DEA are exposed. He's captured by the Burmese military, and the book doesn't shy away from detailing the torture and brutality he suffers in prison.
It's a stark reminder of the real dangers involved in this world and the heavy price people pay for their choices.
Yeah.
So while Saw Lu is enduring this horrific experience, what's Wei up to?
Wei Ever, the opportunist, uses Saw Lu's capture to solidify his control over the WA state and its drug operations. Remember that shift from heroin to yaba we talked about earlier? That was Wei's doing? This transition proved to be a lucrative strategy, making him one of the most successful and ruthless drug lords in history.
It's a tragic turn of events. Saw Lu's dreams are shattered, and the man who betrayed him is thriving. It seems like there's no justice in this world. What happens to Saw Lu? Does he ever get out of that prison?
He does eventually get released. However, he returns to a WA state completely transformed. It's now a Chinese protectorate heavily reliant on the drug trade. Everything he fought for his vision of a different future for his people seems to have vanished.
That's heartbreaking. He risked everything only to see his hopes crushed. It makes you wonder, what was it all for?
That's the brilliance of Winn's storytelling. He doesn't provide easy answers. Instead, he lets you grapple with these complex questions, these moral dilemmas. He takes you inside Saw Lu's mind, revealing the lasting psychological scars of his imprisonment and his struggle to find purpose in a world that has moved on without him.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Saw Lu's disillusioning return to a WA state transformed by Chinese influence. It really makes you think about the long-term consequences of these international interventions.
It does. The U.S. was focused on, stemming the flow of heroin and meth.
Right.
China seized the opportunity to, establish itself as a major player in the region.
Yep.
They essentially made the Wa state their protectorate,
Okay.
providing economic support
Uh,
and infrastructure development in exchange for, well, you can guess what?
it's almost ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Wa, initially supported by the CIA to fight communism, end up aligning with China, the very power they were resisting.
It's a classic example of realpolitik.
Yeah.
Like any group striving for survival and autonomy had to adapt to the shifting geopolitical landscape.
Of course.
And China, with its growing economic and military, might offer a path,
Yeah.
albeit one with strings attached.
I bet.
Winn uses the term Shanzai Zongguo to describe this relationship, which roughly translates to knock off China.
Knock off China.
It's a bit derogatory,
Yeah.
but it highlights the Wa state's position as a client state,
Okay.
dependent on China for its economic well-being.
So they traded one form of dependency for another?
Yeah, pretty much.
Winn describes a Wa state with modern infrastructure, reliable electricity,
Wow.
and even a thriving entertainment industry.
Really?
All thanks to Chinese investment.
That's interesting.
But as you said, at what cost?
Right.
Their autonomy, their culture, their future.
Exactly. It raises important questions about the true meaning of development.
Yeah.
Is it simply about economic progress, or is there more to it?
Right.
What about cultural preservation,
Yeah.
self-determination?
All those things.
Yeah.
The book doesn't offer easy answers,
Right.
but it prompts us to think critically about these issues.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Let's go back to Salu.
okay.
How does he navigate this new reality, this knockoff China that's emerged in his absence?
Salu's story takes another intriguing turn.
He returns to a Wa state that's alien to him.
Uh-huh.
His old allies gone.
Right.
His dreams seemingly shattered.
Wow.
He's grappling with the physical and psychological trauma of his imprisonment.
Hmm.
But that spark of idealism,
Yeah.
that desire to make a difference,
Right.
still flickers within him.
You'd think he'd be broken by that experience, completely disillusioned.
Yeah, you would think.
But there's a resilience to him,
Right.
a refusal to give up entirely.
He's a survivor. That's
Yeah.
what makes him such a compelling character.
Mm.
He doesn't seek revenge or try to reclaim his lost power.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he finds a different path,
Okay.
a more subtle form of resistance.
What do you mean?
He dedicates himself to preserving Wa language and culture.
Oh, wow.
He recognizes that the influx of Chinese influence poses a threat to the Wa way of life.
Right.
So he focuses on educating the younger generation,
Okay.
ensuring their traditions and stories aren't lost
Right.
amidst the rapid changes sweeping through their nation.
It's a powerful reminder that the fight for survival can take many forms.
It really can.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
not about wielding weapons or engaging in political battles,
All right.
but about safeguarding the heart and soul of a people, their cultural identity.
Absolutely. And as if Salu's story wasn't compelling enough,
Right.
Winn throws in a few more twists before the book ends.
Oh, really?
Remember Bill Young, the DEA agent
Yeah.
who was so instrumental in Salu's journey?
Yeah, the one who facilitated his role as an informant.
Right.
What happens to him?
Well, Young, nearing the end of his career,
Okay.
becomes disillusioned with the way the war on drugs is playing out.
Interesting.
He sees the Wa state's predicament,
Mm-hmm.
their dependence on China, their continued reliance on the drug trade,
Yeah.
and he decides to take matters into his own hands.
Oh,
He hatches a plan to disrupt the status quo.
a plan. What kind of plan?
He wants to orchestrate a coup within the Wa state,
What?
using his network of contacts and knowledge of the region's power dynamics.
Okay.
He envisions installing a new leadership,
Uh-huh.
one more aligned with the West,
Right.
capable of breaking free from China's grip and severing their ties to the drug trade.
That sounds incredibly ambitious and frankly a little crazy.
Yeah.
Does he actually try to pull this off?
He does.
Really?
He starts reaching out to his old contacts within the Wa state,
Okay.
gathering support,
Uh-huh.
even reaching out to some shady figures from the Golden Triangle's past.
Oh, boy.
But as with most things in this region, nothing goes according to plan.
Of course not. What happens? Does he succeed?
Winn leaves us hanging a bit,
Oh, really?
which is part of the book's brilliance.
Okay.
He doesn't explicitly state the outcome of Young's plan,
Right.
but he hints at the chaos and danger involved, the entanglement of international intrigue,
Right.
CIA interference,
Of course.
and the ever-present threat of violence.
Of course.
It leaves you with a sense of unease,
Uh-huh.
a feeling that even amidst the veneer of stability in the Wa state, the potential for upheaval always lurks beneath the surface.
Narcotopia is a page-turner, that's for sure.
It really is.
It's full of twists and turns, complex characters, and thought-provoking themes.
Mm.
What struck me most was Wynn's ability to humanize the Wa people,
Yeah,
showing their struggles, their aspirations, their complexity.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He avoids the trap of portraying them as either victims or villains.
Right.
They're individuals just like us,
Yeah.
trying to navigate a challenging and often dangerous world.
Yeah. Well said.
The book is a reminder that the war on drugs isn't just a political issue.
Right.
It's a human story with real consequences for real people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking for a book that will challenge your perceptions, expand your understanding of a region rarely explored in such depth, and keep you on the edge of your seat, Narcotopia is a must-read.
I couldn't agree more.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Narcotopia.
Yeah, this was fun.
We hope you found it insightful and engaging. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more bookish adventures, and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, and we will see you on the next episode.